Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out to another edition of Black Home Story Month. I am James. Again, this is
Kim.
Ali.
They were a pair of my clients. Shout out to this Black love right here.
9 years.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you got past the 7-year itch. That's dope.
That one before.
Been together since college.
Yeah, sweethearts, college sweetheart. I helped them buy their house. You guys were what, 2021 too?
Yeah, 2020.
2020?
So 2 years ago.
In the peak of the pandemic, we did this?
Yeah.
That was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
But we did it.
In the
We did it,
pandemic.
yeah.
We got it done. So we helped them, or we all, I always like to say I partner with my buyers to buy their house. I'm not their agent, I'm their partner, because this is a monumentous decision for you guys to buy a house to start I won't say start your life together, but almost cement your life together, right? You guys have a home base now that is potentially for 30 years, but most people live in their house for 7 to 10. So I guess we can start at what made you guys decide to buy a house.
At the end of the day, it just made sense financially to purchase a home versus rent, especially when you consider that renting ends up almost being the equivalent amount of a mortgage.
Okay.
So it just made financial sense to do so. It made more sense just to invest in a property that we can sell later on if we choose to do so.
Okay. What were you guys paying in rent?
We were doing like
1,200.
Yeah, 12.
And then he raised the rent, and that's when I was like, oh, I'm out.
So if you saw the previous segment, which was her sister,
Yeah.
a very similar stories.
I didn't like how he was able to just so flexibly, change the rent on us and we didn't really have no say.
Right.
So I didn't really like that. But as a homeowner, I now understand it because property taxes, they do year. So I get it now. But he still was charging way more than what property taxes had increased to. So yeah, I think we made a good decision of moving on and purchasing our own home.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, she was more ready than I was
Okay.
Yeah.
to purchase a home. Like she was doing the classes, doing
I was
everything,
plotting.
and I was like, I guess we're doing this. It didn't become official until we actually like linked up with Jay and started, looking at homes. It was like, all right, really got to get my mind around being a homeowner.
Yeah. I think the first time home buyers class, I knew I wanted to buy a house.
Mhm.
I knew I was ready to take that leap. I had saved enough. And there were really great programs out there like the SONYMA, which is what I ended up purchasing the house through. And it really made buying my first home affordable and actually made my dream come true.
Right. So what was the name of two questions. First, so unlike New York City, up in Albany, the amount with which a landlord can raise a tenant's rent is like infinite. There is no cap. There's no rent control or rent stabilization up here. So when you guys were at 12, what was the proposed new rent?
I think it was like $12.75 or something like that.
Yeah, it was like $50.
Like $12.50, $12.75,
Similar to
something
that
like that. Yeah.
situation.
All right.
Similar to my
So it didn't go up
situation.
like that much
But I
when we
didn't
got
like
in.
it. It didn't
Yeah.
feel like I had control. It
Right.
just felt like now we have to maybe move or something if we can't afford it. Like it just felt like we wanted to get our own home because if anything, we can always sell it later if we need to, and we can recoup what we already put in to our mortgage. So it was just a lot of factors, and I just knew we were ready.
Yeah.
I was ready.
I had to get ready.
I was dragging him along for the ride.
So this is actually very interesting. So Ali, what was your trepidation in buying a home?
Honestly, no one in my family ever owned a home. So I've never like had that. I'm lying. My cousin in Philly owned a home and I would go there in the summertime, but no one in my immediate family actually owned a home. So it was like a new experience, like having to be, the landlord. If something goes wrong, it's on us to fix it.
Yeah.
So it was just like that. I don't know. I was just a little nervous. I was just a little nervous of being the guy, that had to handle it.
Yeah, no, I respect that. That was something we touched on in the previous episode. Being a tenant versus a landlord, that no heat call when it's the dead of winter, you have no heat. Like, truth be told, if you call your landlord, right, he's still unless he has a maintenance team on staff, he's still kind of beholden to the contractors that he uses. But when it's you and you're in control, I think now it's a matter of like solving the problem is in your hands and not someone else's.
Exactly.
Yeah, and also where we were living, we still had to manage the property ourselves. Like we still had to do snow removal, take care of the backyard. If there was any
backyard, he was trying to.
He was trying to like make us be responsible.
He told us straight up, no, he ain't doing that. It was the forest.
He wanted to be our responsible. Like he didn't. This guy lived in Tokyo, so like he in Japan, Tokyo. So he wasn't really doing anything.
Is there another Tokyo that I don't?
And that's what I'm trying to figure.
I just want to make sure there might be multiple Tokyos somewhere. I don't know. I just want to clarify. He was in Japan, all right? So he made us do everything. If something broke, he would want us to call to get it fixed, and then he would reimburse us. But he still wants us to do the work, those steps that
so we were
normally would have like
pretty
a
much already there,
owner or property manager.
Yeah, you're basically a property manager at that point.
Yeah,
you should have charged him 10% because that's what I charge.
Right? Or he was
that's wild.
Yeah. So basically, at that point, I felt like we had enough. Like we knew the knowledge. We saw what happened.
Right.
We're ready.
We were there for what, 4 years?
4 years. Yeah. We were living in our last apartment together, and I just felt like it was ready. And it was time. It was a great time to buy.
Okay.
Well, talk about that later.
But you guys were... So Ali touched on this. You grew up in a family that didn't own their home. So what do you feel like with the separate experiences of... You, I'm assuming, lived in an apartment?
Yes.
And you got to see your other family member that lived... Did they live in like a single family house or a condo?
It was a single family home in Philly, North Philly. And I would go there in the summertime when I was around like 12 to like 15. I'd go there. And it was a cool experience because like literally the whole house from the basement to the second floor, it's just us, you know? So it was a great experience. And I didn't realize it until like recently, like that really changed my perspective on like moving out of Brooklyn and just like seeing what else is out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Do you guys remember what the process was like to buy a house? Like
stressful.
So that touches on it. What did you feel about it?
Times, I remember.
You had to yell at me? What did I do?
You did nothing wrong. It was just me. First time as a home buyer is super stressful, and I don't think anyone or anything can prepare you for it. But it only was towards the end where it got stressful because I was changing my job. So
we'll touch on that at some point.
It really wasn't anything he did. It was just my own stress that I created for myself and my anxiety. So buying a home was pretty easy. No, it wasn't easy. What was it? I'm trying to think. It was stressful. There was so many properties that you wanted to see available, so you had to really narrow down. It was at the height of COVID, so there was like a form you had to fill out. So it was limited.
Oh yeah, the COVID disclosure.
And then when we did find a home that we liked, we put our offer in.
There was another offer.
There was always another offer that was better than ours.
Yeah.
So that part is really stressful, like especially when you would get emotionally attached to a home and you can see yourself living there, and then you put your offer in and you find out it's not your home. And that is the stressful part. When you believe you found your home and then boom, they take it away from you like that.
Yeah. No, during the peak of showing houses in COVID, for every one offer, every one of you guys, I would say there was 20 other people behind you, just like you. So you put an offer in and you'd call the listing agent like before the house even was on the market for 24 hours, like, hey, do you have any offers? Yeah, I got 20. Like
20, yeah.
What? Do you have any that are like cash? Yeah, half of them are cash. The other half are over asking price, and it's like you can't compete. It was so
even close.
Yeah, it was a very difficult process. Even as an agent working with buyers, it could sometimes feel defeated because you were giving your best effort and giving your best offer, and it is defeating to come back to your buyer after you saw all the elation in their face to walk through the house and say, "Yeah, we weren't." We weren't the winner.
You got to keep doing it. If you really want the home, you got to keep going. I have a great realtor. We had a great realtor and a friendship with Jay.
Thank you.
It was amazing. He made the process really great. So
Right.
have a great realtor and have a good
And
team
you gotta
behind
do the
you during
work.
the
Yeah, we
process.
were looking for like 6 months almost.
It
Like
was not 6
it wasn't
months.
6 months. It felt like 6 months. It was
No, I think it was less
maybe
than
the
that.
whole
5.
process
Yeah, I think from
took
look to
6
It
close.
started like
from
the
time
summer.
from the time we started looking until the time we closed. I would
Yeah.
say yes, it took 6 months.
Yeah,
But also, it took us maybe like 4 months to find the right home, get our offer approved, and then like 2 months for closing.
We were looking at
Is
homes
how,
like
we had a 60-day close. It was pretty quick.
yeah.
we was looking
Yeah.
at least like 1 or 2
But the
homes a
whole
week.
process
Yeah.
definitely took like 6
Yeah.
months. Yeah.
So, what made you guys choose this particular house?
I did not think that we were even going to get this house.
There was a ton of offers on this one as well.
I thought it was
Mhm.
too good for me. I thought it was too pretty. I thought the neighborhood was too nice. And I was like, I don't fit here. I don't belong here. There's no way. And I just didn't care. I was like, you know what, Jay? Just put all the money I have. Just put it. It's not going to happen anyway.
Let it ride.
Just let it rise. Let's go see this other house that's, the price was way less than this
Way less. It
house.
was like,
I was like, no one else is
less.
going to want this
Yeah.
house. Let's go look at that house instead of this one.
It was nice too,
It
but
was
the
okay.
bedrooms were so small.
Yeah, the other
Yeah.
house, and I was like, this was a dream. Like, this house literally was my dream. It was my dream home. And I just didn't believe I could have this home. So I was just like, I kept my emotions inside and I said, just go ahead, put an offer and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I
She
remember
didn't keep it inside. It was outside. Your emotions were not inside.
I was just
You
like,
was
let's
stressed,
go look at
baby.
this other house in this different neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely
Yeah.
different. It was this neighborhood was definitely like very quiet.
Nice.
Nice.
Neighborhood.
Rooms were bigger.
Bigger, spacious.
It's like I would call it a pseudo suburb. Like, it's not fully suburban because you don't have as much land, but it's definitely not inner city. Like,
Yeah.
you guys,
we have enough
mix
space
there.
between the homes.
Yes.
Where it's like you're not hearing
Right.
which neighbors
You're not
are saying.
passing sugar from kitchen window to kitchen
Exactly.
window.
Right. Yes.
So you said you had a SONYMA loan. What, if you remember, was that? Like, how much did you put down?
Oof, I don't even remember.
I think SONYMA was like 1% down or something like that.
It was something really low and really crazy. I feel
1
like
to 3.
I feel like I stole something. Honestly, I don't even know. Like, I put down the down payment for the house, and then also with the SONYMA, I did the what is it when you put in your house to reserve the closing?
The earnest money deposit?
Yeah, so I had to put in the earnest money deposit. That was literally like the only cash I put down, to be honest. And also they gave us a COVID stipend at the time, so that's what I used. Okay. So I basically
stimulus checks was hit.
the stimulus checks. It hit different at the time. It hit at the right time. So I put that sucker down. And then through SONYMA, I also did down payment assistance loan. So I really didn't have to put any money down because I used SONYMA to do all that for me.
Yeah.
So that was really, really great.
I think
It
it
was amazing.
the part of your story that I thought was a lot of people come to me and ask about like down payment assistance programs. And just to be blunt, I don't know a lot. I do know from my experience with you and I think one other buyer that down payment assistance program, was it the Albany Housing? It was
all through SONYMA. Like they had the DPAL loan on their website. I did everything. I did all the financing. It was my income, like everything. They approved it, and I'm just grateful that they did. I feel like I stole something. No, it just worked. It worked to my advantage.
Yeah, and I would say this house for you guys worked out pretty well because the guy you bought it, well, the couple you bought it from, the husband was, let's call him loosely, a handyman. So he made some improvements here that if you did it at a different property or a different neighborhood, would have probably cost you probably 20, 55. Let's say 25 to 50 grand.
Right.
Yeah, more. So things like the crown molding, the updated electrical, the updated furnace, the insulated attic.
The foundation, the outside of the foundation, they retiled it too. And they actually redid the front yard and they did landscaping in the front yard and
right. Because when you look at like the before and after
pictures, you can really see the huge difference.
Yeah.
So we're just glad that they're able to do all that work for us. We were able to come in and swoop in and buy the house when we did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that helped too during the inspection negotiations because there were some things that came up and they were just like, oh yeah, we'll do.
Right.
We were able to handle it.
Little issues in the attic that was handled before we came in. It was
an issue with the chimney as well. Yeah.
Okay. So what would you say for you guys? What preconceived notions did you guys come into the home buying process with?
I honestly didn't think I was going to get approved for the loan.
Really?
Honestly, did not. I know I had the money saved and all that, but there's always like these things you hear about maybe banks not favoring, African Americans or Black people.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really nervous about that part. Like, I don't know if I went to the bank in person if I would have gotten the loan that I did.
Okay.
But because of COVID, everything was done over the phone. So I just don't know if that made an impact or not. But I kind of feel like it did. It made a benefit in my favor. But that's just me speculating.
Yeah, I mean, you do have a customer service voice too. So
I put on that extra nice voice on the phone.
What's that movie?
Hello.
What's that movie?
Oh, wait, Lakeith Stanfield.
Yeah. It was like, yo, put on your white voice.
I wouldn't per se I put on my white voice, but I put on my best phone.
We're just gonna call it customer service.
Customer service voice.
Within our community, we all know what code switching is.
Yes.
You know when you get on the phone.
Code switch. And a little bit of black girl magic on the inside as well. But who knows? But honestly, things have been changing, with the Black Lives Matter movement, everything like that. Who knows if I would have walked to the bank, maybe they would have given it to me. I will never know. I just know I felt that pressure or that uncertainty during that process when applying for the loan. Yeah,
I can respect that. I mean, with companies like Wells Fargo, I can't necessarily pinpoint another one that have been, I don't want to say exploited, but put on the forefront for giving loans and discrimination to people of color and how they handle us.
Subpar loans, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's not unfair to say you have a fear that you'll be handled differently because of the color of your skin, because you feel like you've got to be a little bit more in tune with how you being a person of color can be treated for nothing other than the fact that you are a person of color. So when we all finally got to the closing table, what was that like? What was that feeling like for you guys? Because you guys are, well,
I was the only one who went to closing,
right? Because of COVID.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they weren't letting us in.
Right. So what it was like when I finally got to the table.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that it was happening. I couldn't believe it was mine. I put on my best, professional outfit to go signing. I was ready. I had a great legal team, all Black. Yes.
Again, shout out Kimberly Wallace and Rashia.
Yes, amazing. They were an amazing team to work with. And I was so excited, I had a great team. I signed. I just couldn't believe it. Like, I literally didn't believe it was my home until I took the keys and I went to the house and I was like, it's fine.
I think that same day we came over here.
And we came over the same day. We had people come over, we invited everyone a couple of people that we knew, and we just walked to the house together, and it was just a great feeling. Mm-hmm. It was.
It was exciting.
Okay. What upgrades? Basically, now you own the home, right? So we've spoken about the process of buying the house. Now you own it. So what does that aspect feel like? What are the highs? What are the lows? What upgrades have you made? What celebrations have you had? Like, how have you experienced home ownership in all its fullness?
Because of COVID, we didn't actually get to have a housewarming party.
Yeah, that was.
So we've had events, but we didn't have our official housewarming party. So that's something I definitely think we should do at some point.
I mean, 3 years later, but
it's warm in here. We got the heat on, new thermostat set up. It's warm.
The house is warm today.
Right. So, what do? We painted the living room. We decorated. We furnished the home as best our ability that we can right now. It's really,
don't undershoot that. This house is very homey. I feel at home every time I come here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad. Really try. We're doing one room at a time. Do what you can. Don't feel too much pressure to
do everything at once.
To fill every single room.
Yeah.
It'll get done, especially it's yours. So it's ours.
Yeah.
Right. Don't be in here decorating for the people that be here once every 6 months.
Yeah.
You live here, not them.
It took us about like a year or so to paint.
Because we had to figure out how. One, we don't know how to paint, so we had to figure out how to paint. Then we had to figure out what color we wanted. Then we had to figure out
that took a while.
What furniture
we're Libras,
go. So. It was definitely a beautiful experience. It was a fun one. I'm glad I had Ali with me during that process. We actually ended up getting the attic insulated.
Yep.
That's something that we had that we did.
Made a big difference.
Huge difference to our heating and electric bill, which is great. I think those
recently changed the thermostat, got it upgraded smart because she just likes to talk to
we did
Alexa.
Yeah, I like things voice control.
Right,
and we also did some landscaping in the backyard. We added some mulch, so we mulched and we added some flowers back there just to make it more pretty. Yeah, you know, add a little Kim touch.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope. In this neighborhood, so like I said, it's a pseudo suburb, and you guys bought this house at a pretty, I think, even a little bit less expensive than the price point for most entry level homes. So, the demographic of your street, what would you say it's like?
Predominantly white.
Mhm.
That's what you're asking me.
Yeah.
It's mainly a white neighborhood, but our neighbors are really great.
Yeah.
We're right in between. We love them. Everyone has been super nice.
Since we moved
but it is great when we do see people of color on the block.
Yeah,
it just helps reiterate, that we also too belong. Like it just feels better. When you see someone else, you're like, yo,
give that little
what's
head
up?
nod.
You give that head nod, like, what's up? What's up? I see you, you see me, we see each other right here. On the block, yes. So
again, the universal black head nod.
Yes, it's important.
Shout out to the audience in the back. But it is. So we spoke about it off camera, but I think it is something that is, I don't want to say important, but for lack of a better way to put it, important. What happened when your FedEx driver seen you walking the dog on the block?
So pretty much I was walking Coco and we got to the corner and he's busting it right and he's like, he stops and he's like, he honks the horn, he's like, yo, little black man. I was like, yo, what's good, bro? What's going on, brother? You're like, man, it's great to see y'all on the block. I was like, yeah, man, it's good to see you, man.
It's important. Like, representation matters. You don't even know.
It feels good.
Like,
it feels good.
Yeah.
I came back home. I was like, yo, that shit just made my day. Like,
it does.
Yeah.
To be recognized as black in a neighborhood, in a nice, doing well, upcoming neighborhood and stuff like that. Like, sure. It's good. It's good when we see our neighbors as well.
Our neighbors are great. Yeah.
Yeah, we have great. It's a nice neighborhood.
I've actually learned a lot from both my neighbors regarding like landscaping the property, like doing all that. They're great. They're not of color, but
it's just great when you get to see that diversity.
Absolutely. See more people coming in the neighborhood.
Like, I don't always want to be the only black person over it. Tired of it.
Been there.
Tired of it. School, education, my job, and now in this new spot. So the more diversity I see and inclusion I see, overall the better.
Yeah. It's important.
It's important.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It allows, as much as it feels good to feel at home in your home, you do have to, even if you don't commune with your neighbors, right? There's still a level of feeling at home outside of your four walls, right? So just like you said, to see your FedEx driver and that moment of like, brother man, right? You know what I mean? If it's not saying like I know you or we're kinfolk or anything like that, but just to be like, oh, there's another person that looks like you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Because our diction and how we talk is different.
Mm-hmm.
Our music is different. Our food is different. And it kind of removes the novelty of being in a neighborhood where you feel like you're for lack of a better way to put it, the speck of pepper in a sea of salt. So it does help to see other people that look like you.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would you guys say are some of the, not even some, because there's a myriad of them. What would you guys say is the biggest obstacle for more people of color to own a home?
I want to say it's definitely going to be financial. You have to have,
The means. Yeah.
But you also need to know about the opportunities that are available to help you, even if you don't have all the means. Like the SONYMA program helped me do that, which is really important. And then also just the mindset of that you can
do it. It's
Like,
not.
it's not just for other people. Like, it's for you as well. You can do it.
Right.
Like, I believe you can do it if you want to do it.
Yeah.
For real.
Absolutely, because if it wasn't for Kim taking that step and saying, "Hey, this is what I want to do. I want to do it by the end of this year," I would probably still be renting because my mentality at the time was not there yet. It wasn't because I just didn't think I was ready for this.
Yeah.
You know, but looking at it, like it's not. We're not paying much more than we were when we were renting.
Right.
And looking at
And
like
look how much more you have.
Right.
so much more,
So much
you
more.
know, and looking at when I go back to Brooklyn and spend time with my family, you know, they're renting a 2-bedroom apartment. They're paying over $1,700 in rent for a 2-bedroom in Brooklyn. And it's
And
not
that's
like
low in Brooklyn.
yeah, it's not the nicest neighborhood, you know, it's
It's Brooklyn,
you know,
Brooklyn.
it's good. But and even before that, you know, like renting at the time when it was cheaper, you know, $1,300, $1,400, but you're only getting one floor, 2 to 3 bedrooms, and you know, there's no backyard, there's no front yard, you know,
No garage.
there's no garage.
Right.
You know, you're not working with that, so it's definitely different. It's definitely, you know, it feels great to have my family come visit, you know, here and just have that freedom and not have to worry about a landlord upstairs or downstairs being, because there's been those situations where it's been like nasty situations with a landlord that lives on the property and you're renting it, because at the end of the day they don't want you there. They just want your money.
Yeah.
You know, so
And it's not even a matter that they don't want you there, especially if they live. I know when I started my landlord career, I specifically said I did not want to live with my tenants. I did not want that. Even if your landlord wants you there, they want you there on their terms more times than not. And that's where it becomes like, you feel like you're walking on eggshells.
Right, you definitely are, because you can't do certain things you want to do, and especially like growing up as kids are going to be kids.
Yep.
So if you have somebody who decides to put a chandelier on the bottom floor with kids running around, you know, they're going to be mad if the kids are running around. It's going to be an issue. It's going to be that broom banging on the
Right. And that's if you look out
like,
that your neighbor is just like another tenant. If it's your landlord, there's the threat of eviction.
Exactly. And there's all these other things that came with it. And it's definitely, it's empowering being on you know, having your own spot and making your own rules. And
you can have your friends over for like chicken and waffles. Some bomb ass chicken and waffles.
Some homemade
Chef Ali,
some fried chicken.
Good,
Some get 12 pieces, some get 3. Sorry,
so that was the aspect of, I think what you guys are saying together. There was a certain aspect of, because you didn't come from it, there was some level of like imposter syndrome of going to attain it. Because just like you said, you couldn't believe that this was
possible,
yours. And you were at the point where it was like, I don't even really have that on my radar yet.
Yeah, it wasn't.
You know what I mean?
And honestly, it wasn't until like I asked a coworker, like, oh, like why? Like this was the time I was renting. I was fine with renting, and I was like, oh, why would you buy a home over renting? And she would not tell me why, like the benefits of owning a home versus renting. And I just looked at her very suspect. And ever since then, I was like, oh, let me do my own research and look into it. And I saw all these benefits to owning a home, and that's when I was like, okay, we need to get the ball going on this journey. They're trying to keep a secret from us.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I see you.
We won't mention this coworker. You know,
no name.
You know.
You know.
You know.
No,
What she do?
do?
Ancestors.
Till you do
Color
white
purple.
Oh my god.
We never get a color border for that. We're not gonna do that.
But yeah, no, that I think it boils down to, again, representation matters, right?
Yeah.
From what you come from is what you're comfortable with. And it takes a lot of bravery, and I want to commend you both on that, to say, even though this is not what I experienced, this is what I want. And beyond this is what I want, I'm going to go get it. Because even you, when we were off camera, you were talking about there was some it was daunting to think about having to fix this and having to fix that. But when we were here last time for dinner, you tackled some of that stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it does take a certain level of bravery to step out on that ledge and say, it's a foreign thing for
You
me.
just got to learn it, because there's a lot of things that if you don't try to do it, you would never do it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like whether it be like landscaping, snow plowing, fixing some electrical work that you might not think you could do,
Right.
but looking up stuff on YouTube or even talking to a professional, like you can learn a lot of things, and it makes you a lot more comfortable.
And we were first time homeowners, like we didn't know about raking leaves.
Yeah,
We didn't know about
blows.
that.
Absolutely
We
blows.
didn't know. So like our silly selves, we paid someone else to do it.
Yeah.
Like $250.
First time.
Don't let them get you like that.
No, that's not silly. I've done my own leaves.
So
It's worth it.
but our yard isn't that big that we can't manage ourselves. Like
And
we are
spend that
two
much
young
effort,
individuals.
to do
We
that.
still
Yeah,
have
it's
our
crazy.
backs. We can do it
We
ourselves.
still have our backs.
Okay, so it's important. Like as a first time
You can
homeowner,
do it.
like,
Right.
there's things that you can do and you should not be giving other people money to.
Right.
And YouTube. And the only thing I would say
Unless
is
you got it like that, then you know. Say,
Okay,
do
you're right. If you got it like that. we didn't have it like that. And we did do it because we just were, I guess, naive. We just weren't really sure. All we had to do was
Right.
go to Home Depot and buy a rake and just get some bags.
That's
Like
it.
that's all we had to do.
Yeah.
Put a little elbow grease in it and we could do it. But I will say, like, we can pretty much do anything we want
Mhm.
here, which is really cool. I would just say when it comes into electrical work, I would get it.
Yeah, unless it's
That's the
like
only
some-
thing. I don't know.
Do some
Mm.
stuff.
We got faith in you, Ali. And that's what homeowners insurance is
Yeah.
for, right? If it burns down, you just
No.
make a claim.
This
No?
is why y'all can't
No.
no. This is why. No.
All right.
Mm. Get the professional. Okay.
So speaking about stepping out on the ledge and doing things that, are foreign and you didn't necessarily experience growing up. Right. As we come to the conclusion of our segment, I wanted to give a shout out to your social media influencer page.
Oh yes, you can find me on Instagram. I have a lot of skincare life updates on there. It's at Black Girl Views, _views.
Okay. Now I got to shout out the
And
dog.
then also my dog Cloisha. If you want to see her, it's at Cloisha, KHLOEISHA, and you will see a cute fur ball there. She's a Cocker Spaniel, and that's all we have for our IGs at the time.
Yes, yes.
Ali at some point is going to start his chef.
He's not
Chef, no, Chef
Yeah.
Ali you can't
not
take this
yet.
on tour yet. We can't take this on tour
Not
yet.
on tour yet. Sorry,
Alright.
ladies.
So I want to thank everybody for coming out for another segment.
You at my house. So,
What? Are you kicking me out?
you said thank you for coming out. You
Yeah,
at
they're
my house.
coming into your house
Oh,
through the
thank you guys.
camera.
I am so sorry.
So
Thank
uncouth.
you.
Cut that out.
I've been drinking.
No, that's making it into the segment. I will see you guys next week. Have a good night.
Thanks, Jay.